yeah, we could have another sort of 250, 280 horsepower tractor just to do some of this mid-size work. GPS. I'm probably going to go away from mirror-mounted crop sensors and have the sort of front weight crop sensor thing. Primarily because you only need crop sensors when you're fertilizing a field for the final time, and so having crop sensors available for any tractor rather than limiting the use to a single tractor or paying for the crop sensors for every tractor. I think that kind of makes more financial sense. So also the front-mounted crop sensors can work at night time. These can't. Not that we tend to work at night at all, if ever. I try to avoid it because it's difficult to see stuff on many UK maps. They tend to make nighttime very, very dark, and so streaming on those maps tends to be kind of difficult vision-wise. Okay, so I thought that, and try not to drive on the field, although not driving on the field isn't too much of a problem there. We do have narrow tyres on this tractor. Okay, let's lower that down and we'll do this edge. Maybe go to the edge. Yes. I'm not sure I'll ever need another small tractor to complement. Well, I say that. Okay, I'll revise that. While we're just on these 2 yards, I don't think I will ever need another small tractor like the Massey Ferguson. Primarily because, it never goes anywhere, and the only grass field is that one over there. So why would I need another why do I need another tiny tractor? That said, however, if we buy a yard at the bottom of the map, it makes sense to have another small tractor there because it can help on that yard. So we don't have to say, oh, I need a small front loader tractor. Oh, the Massey's right up at the top left of the map. I'm going to have to transport it all the way to the other yard. Just having and small tractors, in the grand scheme of things, aren't too expensive. They come up in sales quite often. If one came up in a sale, we could probably buy it with the cash we have available. So I'm not really too worried about having another small tractor, but as far as necessity is concerned, we really don't need one here yet. And as we progress, I will probably distribute some of the tractors around different yards, just so it's not all, they're not all in one place. That's a problem. I suppose I was just thinking I can't visually see where I've been with this. I don't think that's actually a problem because I can review the mini-map and that'll tell me where I've been. But still. Gotcha. When we're pretty close to having the entire bottom portion of this field done, so that's a good thing. Looks like something drove along the edge of the soybean field, or we missed the planting area. One of the two. Should probably lift that while we're driving. While we're driving backwards. Do the backwards driving thing. And yeah, as far as 128 hours on one tractor is concerned, I'm not too bothered about that. I do have a reduced wear rate and a reduced repair cost running. I'm not bothering repainting anything because, quite frankly, I like things that aren't that have paint scratches all over them. It looks like they're functioning tractors when you do that. Or other equipment. You look at our little red tipper trailer, and that's so scuffed up. It's just awesome. But okay, we did that bit. But yeah, improved equipment will come over time, I think, just as we work it. But in all things, land makes money, so land is ideally the priority, and so most of the equipment we're picking up is used. Some is extremely used, others is quite used. And it's just so, yeah, I thought the slurry tank was used, but the slurry tank needs the injectors. So the injectors are new. The Deutz is used, but the front loader arms are new. All the attachments were new. And that's typically because I need those things right away. I can't remember if the straw blower is used or not, because we got to the point where I need one, and so if there's none on sale, I'm going to have to buy it. I'm kind of hoping a big cedar, or a larger cedar, should I say, will come up in the sales in the next couple of months, or in the next couple of game days. And I will probably take out a loan if it does, because I would really like to have a bigger cedar. And so, if we do that, then we can get more stuff seeded, or we can do the seeding faster. But if one doesn't come up, the cedar we have is kind of adequate. I'm not going to say, oh, I could so much do with doing the seeding faster, I'm just going to buy a big cedar now, brand new. Now, once we come to selling stuff, that's when, end of year, I'll be looking at what equipment can I not get away without buying, and how many new fields can I buy? Because they're going to make money for the farm. They're going to be the most valuable in the long term. And so, that's where we go from there. But I need a bigger mower set. I know the Kubota butterfly mower came up. Was it the Kubota? Might have been the Vicon. The butterfly mower for that came up in the store sale, but it didn't. It was the wrong time, and I didn't have a tractor that can haul it. This tractor is completely inadequate for a big triple mower set. Back on our previous series, that was what our class Axions were doing, was big giant mowers. There we go. Most of it. So now we have the John Deere. The John Deere was a used tractor, and it was sort of, I don't absolutely need it right now, but fully kitted out, it's almost 400 horsepower, which is going to make hauling stuff up that hill there a lot easier. Even this tractor struggles at times. The Massey Ferguson I don't even attempt it with. So, the John Deere is primarily the tractor I use for hauling grains to market, or to the grain mill or whatever, because it has just shy of 400 horsepower. And so that makes sense to use that tractor for that thing. But it now gives us the opportunity to buy a triple mower set as soon as one comes up on the sales. I'm not going to go out of my way to buy one, but it's something I've noted that it would be really useful if I had one. But they're expensive, so I'm not going out of my way to buy one, but one is going to happen on the farm eventually. I'd like a bigger slurry tank, but again, it's a cost. This is adequate. We're not travelling far. If I'm travelling all the way across the map to spread slurry, then kind of, yes, I would probably need a bigger tank just to drive out that way. But for right now, okay, how many times have we emptied this thing? 10 times? But at the very least, I'm only driving just over there to fill it up. I'm not having to drive all the way to the BGA, which is what we did last series. So I mean, we could probably do a review of our equipment. When I've done this field, we'll take a look. What did we buy new? I think that the harvester came up as sale equipment. Yes, I so much need a harvester, because last year we did all our harvesting in the same month, on the same day, I think. So that wasn't too much of an issue, but the way we've got this farm planted this year, if I was leasing a harvester, we wouldn't have done any harvesting yet, because I would have to I'd have to wait till the 3rd day of July, lease a harvester, harvest all of the fields that were ready in July, and then hold it over one day so I could harvest all the fields that are ready in August, and thus reduce the cost of I missed some bits scooping rocks, but there are no rocks. I don't think there's rocks on them, and that's where the manure needs to go. Excuse me while I concentrate. I'm watching the ground texture and hoping I hit it all. Or the fence. One of the two. And that looks, for the most part, green enough. We'll take a look on the ground map. We're in 50 and the tractor's rolling. So nitrogen, mostly green. It's a kind of tiger stripe of greenness, but that is sufficiently nitrogenated. As usual, we don't have to worry too much about the nitrogen being perfect, because we plant the crop, then we come back, crop sensors and artificial fertilizer, and get it exactly where it needs to be. Maximize the environmental score and all the good gubbins there. Squeeze. Oh, we were going to look at equipment. Well, I need to fill this tank up, so... and probably don't know where all our equipment actually is. But if we go here, we have a small tractor which has 31 months and 56 hours. And again, dirt cheap. It actually came in this configuration with a front weight, wheel weights on the back, panoramic roof, attachments for front loader. It was set up as a front loader tractor. Our medium tractor, 128 hours, 69 months, just crazy. Our large tractor, 24 hours and 19 months, and again bought used. The harvester is used, and 12 hours, 21 months. We're probably not going to put a great deal of hours on there unless we start contracting with it. Skid steer loaders, 8 hours and 15 months. I just like that. So we have that. Forklifts, we've got 2 telly trucks. Both of them came up on sales. 11 hours, 25 months, and 37 hours, 75 months. They're not really worth anything. All I'm using them for is to load pallets at various places. We have a Land Rover. The Land Rover is new from the beginning of the game, I would say. 43 months, 5 months to the end of the year. Land Rover was bought brand new. This thing also bought brand new, because I needed something small to transport stuff. This is 29.7 hours, 48 months. This is bought used, and the price reflects that, and the condition reflects that. Header was bought new because we needed something to stick on the front of the harvester. This seeder is kind of looking like it's new as well. This was bought new, it's cheap, it's the direct drill, so we don't have to cultivate the ground. The sprayer was bought used, 57 months, that's longer than we've been playing. It just came up in the store sales, so I figured I could buy that because it was as good as the sprayer we had. Slurry tank, 18 hours, 28 months. I think this is also new. When you compare it, 3.5 hours and 10 months on the applicator. So the applicator, I had to buy that new to attach to the slurry tank I had, so hence the sort of I need to buy that new because mower is probably new, or it was at the time, and this can be used as a mulcher and a mower, so which is why I've got it. The tedder is new because I needed a tedder, not because it just happened to arrive. Same with this, it was bought new just because we needed one. Baler, 35 months, also new. Loader trailer, this one I honestly don't recall if it was new or whether we it's probably new. I bought that because it's like, I'm fed up with loading bales with forks. This thing is used. We got that, I think, the first month, and I bought that because I know I'm going to need to transport bales around and pallets around, so that one happens to be on sale. There are cheaper trailers than this brand. But this one was this one was a part of the store sale, and so it was the cheapest. That I bought new because attachments are cheap. That I think I also bought. This I bought new as well, and I went for this rather than the other type of wrapper, just because you can put the biggest 180 centimeter round bales in it, whereas the tow behind wrappers only do the 150s. Chainsaw I think was new. That is used, and I still haven't used it, but I figured when I chop down trees occasionally, I like to try and replant them thus. That was bought new. Kind of regret it. I don't like that one. Front loaders, I believe. Yeah, I bought those new. So you can see this one is the Deutz. It's got 84.9 hours on it, whereas the Deutz has 128. So 40 hours less on this. It might be, it's 41 months old. We could go back. It's 41 months old. This is 69 months old. So this probably had 28 months on it when we bought it. Not quite so many hours. I don't always run with the loader arms attached. So the hour discrepancy there is not entirely accurate. And the same with this one. This has 31 months and 56 hours. This one has 23 months, so it was probably a 9 month old Massey Ferguson when we bought it. This has 47 hours on it. How much does Massey have on it? 47. This has 56. So it's probably about a 9 month old, 9 hour old tractor when we bought it. It wasn't particularly old, but hey, it was cheaper than the normal. Most of the attachers are new. I think this is definitely used, and I figured I'd need to transport stuff around. The header trailer's new, weights are new, that's new, which goes on the back of our little TLX. So predominantly equipment I'm buying used unless I absolutely need it. So I absolutely need a seeder, I absolutely need a mower, and so I'm going to buy those new when the absolute need happens. But the replacement, until I've got a lot of money, I'm not necessarily going to say, oh yeah, I need to go out and buy a brand new mower set, because the mower I have is sufficient for what we're doing at the moment. For contracts, I tend to borrow the mowing equipment rather than provide mine. But if we had a big mower set, I would probably tend to use mine. Similarly with the stuff on the back end of baling contracts, I have been known to use my baling trailer and my baler just because I prefer transporting 24 round bales to 14 square bales. Okay, let's engage that. Let's drive and lower that, and off we go. So yeah, it's need versus, oh, I'm going to need. A lot of the times. Those telly trucks, the first one came up in a sale very early on, and it's sort of, well, right now I don't actually need this, but I can see I'm going to need this before the end of the year, and it's here in the store, and it's $15,000 or £15,000. Let's just buy it now. The John Deere. I've got the money in the bank. I don't need a tractor that's that big. The Deutz is quite capable of doing a lot of jobs around the farm with the equipment we have on the farm. However, 128 hours. We're putting a lot of hours on this thing, and it's going to wear out eventually. So having another tractor that is more able to do bigger jobs eventually just happens to be a prudent decision at the time. I have no specific job for the John Deere to do, but it's reducing the amount of time I'm putting on this tractor. And really the only job this tractor absolutely has to do, if I'm doing it manually, is doing the solid and liquid fertilizer, because this is the only tractor that has both GPS and crop sensors, and I'm not intending to add crop sensors to the John Deere. Also, I'm not intending to run it with narrow tires anytime soon. So again, it's not really ideal for fertilization jobs. This has been running narrow tires since we started with it, and so doesn't damage the crops when we drive over them. So yeah, it is ideal for the task at hand at that point. Keep bonking on the fence posts. OCD Farmer says we have to cover the entire field. That's better. As I said, I don't know if the John Deere does have GPS on it. We can find out. No. I haven't spent the 15,000 installing GPS on the John Deere yet, so I can't do this task accurately with the John Deere yet. Now maybe towards the end of the year I might think about applying GPS to the John Deere, or if I get mowers. If I get mowers, putting GPS on the John Deere will make the mowing task a little less frustrating. And that's really, it's really what I look at for spending money on GPS, is this job is really frustrating without it, therefore maybe I should think about adding it. I can do tasks like this by eye, just dead reckoning and what have you, but sometimes it's just a little bit more efficient to run with GPS, especially not here, because I have the contrast between the lined state and the slurry state, and we still have the mini map, but it's not. It can be a little inaccurate. Whereas at the top there, you have to position the camera exactly right to see the shiny part where we put slurry and the matte part where it's just effectively cultivated ground. But harvesting, I can do it by eye, but sometimes having GPS just makes the task a little bit easier and sometimes a little bit faster when you're lining up the rows. So once we get big mowers, the John Deere will seriously benefit from having GPS, just so it makes the cutting job less frustrating. And I tend to end up with GPS on almost all of my big tractors. So I'm thinking I might round the top headland here manually. Just gives me a little bit more visual, or a little bit more space to turn the tractor around at the top here. And tractor doesn't like going up hills. And here you can see, kind of the problem I have with the 247 horsepower. It's efficient for this piece of equipment, but it does suffer. We would do better. Even on a tank this size. I mean, it's not really a big tank. I suppose it's twice the size of Tom Pemberton's slurry tank, and he's running his on a small Hurleman most of the time, 100 horsepower. But just because you've got the horsepower, or you've got sufficient horsepower, unless your fields are flat, it can be a little bit of a challenge actually completing the work with the equipment you have easily. So as I said, sometimes difficult, but okay. A couple of issues getting this decently lined up. We've only got half a row here to complete. Of course, the other challenge I have, especially with equipment like this, where it trails so far behind the tractor, is much as I would like a wider applicator, it's so far back, and a bigger tank would push it even further back, that it sometimes gets very frustrating trying to maneuver it close to field edges. It's a big problem I tend to have with the genuine sort of plows. I like the Lemken plow. It has a very, very, very good working width, but it is a royal pain in the butt trying to get it lined up. With accuracy. So it's good for doing the center portion of a field. It's really not that good for doing headlands, so I tend to, when I have one, I get the huge plough on a worker up and down the middle of the field, and then I run round with a small plough, just tidying up the edges, because it's easier to manoeuvre a smaller piece of equipment. Sprayers, I like the ones that attach to the back of a tractor, because they don't get unwieldy and wrap round hedges and trees and just